good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. If you are tuning in, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. This is Tara-Lee Live, and we have some amazing, amazing chats coming up in the future. So today we are going to be live here with Chris Trump in the garden. If you haven't already seen him down there in the corner, and we got LaLa Gardens up here, and we got Drake in the house. We're going to have an amazing conversation, you guys. So make sure you share this out right away, because we don't want y'all to miss this, because we're going to be here and we're going to be able to take your questions live and really help you work your way through natural farming today. We're going to be diving deep. So should we start off with a dab, you all, and say hello? Drake, I'm going to say hi to you first. What are you hitting? And then I'll let you go to the next person.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Super excited to be here this morning. As always, blessed to have Chris coming on. So excited for the show that LaLa Tina's got for here today. I'm going to jump in probably just on, I think, a backbone of some D8 with a little bit of some Bubba live resin on top to get a little bit of a heavy sedative stone going on to sit back and just listen and absorb everything that's going to come down the field to us. So how about you, Tina? What are you puffing on?
You have definitely sparked my devotion towards finding the strain that I can just gleefully say I'm in love with smoking at the moment, because I'm still finishing up my last harvest, which was a disappointment for so many reasons, but not KNF, every other reason. But I mixed it with Honduras, so it's a little bit more up, because I feel like we need to start identifying strains that are going to help us be creative and not just on the couch, not wanting to do anything.
I agree. Got to have those wonderful narrow leaf cultivars out there. And actually, I think it's more the terpenes myself, but I love lemon terpenes. I'm going on some Granella Funk today. So cheers, everyone out there. Chris is joining us in the garden. He's not smoking with us today, but that's okay, because look at that beautiful area he's hanging out in there. Where are you, Chris? Tell us where you're checking in from.
I am in Parachute, Colorado. It is freezing cold outside. Like, you don't leave a water bottle in the car, it's frozen solid. So I think it's maybe 25 and increasing. It'll get above freezing by this afternoon. But in here, it's a balmy like 75, 70, I don't know, and humid. It's really nice. So it's if we're gonna sit and have a conversation for an hour, this is where I wanted to be. So I'm sitting on a freshly harvested bed with all kinds of cover crop and sweet alyssum and some poppy and there's stuff that needs to get taken down behind me, and the room's still pretty full of it's harvest time. So they did really well, and if we're not looking for areas to improve every time, then we've stopped progressing. So they got just a wonderful improvement. But yeah, I'm hanging out in the garden in Colorado this morning.
That's gorgeous. And so anyone, because I look at the bud online from coming from that farm, and anybody out there who would like to sample that as much as I would should definitely shout out to their favorite dispensary and let them know that they might be interested in carrying some some natural farming grown cannabis.
Beautiful.
Thanks, LaLa.
Oh, you're
Gina,
welcome.
So it's BFF Farms here in Colorado, and yeah.
Give us just a minute and we'll pull their Instagram account up too and show you.
So I have an immediate question that came up for me around your ground cover, because I'm finding that the increase in diversity in your cover crop, even from 3 on up, is actually functioning to increase the biodiversity, just because biodiversity is queen. So are you finding some interesting correlations or differences in, like, what are you doing with your cover crops?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. The diversity is really, really great for a natural environment. So we have living soil. These beds, they will never swap out. They're designed to just progressively mature and get better. And we have the tools for nutrients, foliar, and drip. So yeah, and the cover crop, you know, they like different nutrients, and then their exudates, or their kind of leach field in their root zone is different nutrients per cover crop. So having those different things, cycling nutrients, taking up some and putting down others, and then often they get chopped and laid down, so it becomes green manure. I love having a ton of different things, and that increase little by little, and that they find balance. It's a wonderful thing. So yeah, I agree. I think not having a one-dimensional cover crop, but finding things you like. You know, as far as selecting what you want for cover crop, I think my leading reason is, or kind of thing to look for, is really, as a farmer, what functions well for you, stays out of your way, but is effective. You know, if you get something that everybody says is great, but you don't like it because it, you know, binds up your water system or something, you know, that's a great reason not to use it. You know,
Exactly.
So don't feel like you have to take some expert's advice on the perfect cover crop. Like, get things that you like, that you want. I mean, I had them plant. We got a beautiful banana tree. We got bananas going up different places. We got Myers lemon and Tahitian lime, you know, in these beds and in different places. We got a ton of aloe plants in every bed. I like aloe for a reason. Aloe is like a canary in a mine to water issues. Aloe will not do well with overwatering, and but it'll be healthy at an ideal moisture for cannabis. So aloe has great uses. You can use it for cloning. You can make FPJ out of it, but it's also great because if the aloe's not healthy, you better check your soil,
That is
that you're
beautiful.
not too wet. So yeah, it's fun to have cover crops and companion plants. You know, I don't ascribe to banker plants. I don't ascribe to plants that you're trying to either get insects to grow on. I think that should be avoided, in my opinion. But yeah, having some cover crop that you enjoy seeing, you know. And the cool thing too, one of my favorite things, I don't see it right here, but we could walk around and look at it, is because we use an indigenous fungal inoculum, we have a huge diversity of mushrooms that come up in all the beds, big, bulbous, beautiful. Yeah, and that's fun. You know, it doesn't really, it's not here nor there as far as helping us, except that they are fungi that cycle nutrients and interact with plants. But it's fun to be like, oh, we got new mushrooms coming up over here, and it's enjoyable, and this, you know, gardening should be something that you love and enjoy.
And that you discover something new in every day, and that you don't necessarily have to know the function of everything to sort of be a witness to the fact that nature is showing you she has a plan, and she's like organizing in a way that's going to function at a higher and higher rate. So if you're just attuned to that, you become a helper rather than a knower, and that's a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
you sent me in two different directions, and one of them is more principle based in that just kind of what we were touching on, that it's really an empowering thing to know that your observations matter. That when you initiate a cover crop, it's not necessarily what an authority says, it's more like what you're drawn to do, and that's going to lead you to a discovery. But I wanted to just do another quick ask, just because I've been fascinated with this in my own garden right now. When you're doing a chop and drop, are you using any kind of like an IMO4 or some kind of a SOS application directly on top of that?
You definitely can.
Okay.
And one thing came to mind before I continue.
Okay.
There will be some things that you could grow as cover crop that will be a negative, either in nutrient cycling or function in your garden. So just to say, you know, whatever you like, do be aware that there may be some things that could be a negative. So there is some research to do. I say that, and I have kind of a sense of things to stay away from. But yeah, poisonous things or things that create a lot of pollen or can interfere with your main thing, what you're trying to do. So do just that little caveat that it's not just willy-nilly, whatever. You still want to yeah, but no, you definitely can apply IMO with chopping. We're doing that so regularly here as far as liquid IMO and stuff, and there's so much already in the soil that that's not a concern. Ooh, we just changed lighting.
That was gorgeous. I was so
out.
glad to be part of that. That was really trippy.
The sun is out. It's actually wonderful.
So is it sensitive to the light? It'll only come on when the light drops.
Yeah. So because it's winter, we have lower light hours.
Yeah.
So the lights kick on, and then once the sun kind of gets up to enough intensity that it kind of matches the lights, then the lights will kick off. What you don't want is the lights to be there and the sun to be like just coming up over the horizon. The lights kick off, and then you have this dip in intensity that then has to come back up as the sun goes. So you want to wait till the sun matches the light intensity and then drop the lights.
Gorgeous. It's
Yeah,
just
so
an
that's what
amazing
just
facility.
happened.
That is one of the most stunning facilities I've ever seen.
I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to be able to, be a part of design and I do get to design we'll be designing a new facility too. And the change I'm making is that we're not going to have concrete floors in the grow room.
Nice. Right into the ground. Right into
the ground and the walkways. So you'll take off your shoes when you come into the garden and walk on grass in all the walkways and purse lane and all the different things you'd want to walk on. So I think that could really, indoors is somewhat sterile and disconnected from grounding in the soil. And I think that's a shift that I feel really good about.
Oh, that's beautiful. And talking about grounding, I know we're probably going down another direction. Redirect anytime you want or feel the need, obviously.
But let me wrap up your first question.
Okay.
Yes, applying IMO before you drop is an ideal way to do things, especially if you're doing your cover crop for your first time, you haven't planted before. That's a great way to mulch on top of your IMO or spray soil treatment solution or liquid IMO before you drop. Your question was really valid because that is what you want to do. It's unnecessary because of the frequency of liquid IMO right now.
So are you finding, because I did have a liquid IMO question for you later, or now it's happening, I guess.
Yeah.
How are you like, I know you brought that technology to natural farming, and it was through the experience that you had with your family's macadamia farm in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And so tree application has got to be a little bit different than application the way you're using it. Do you have any insights that you could share with us through your own learning curve on that one?
Yeah, it is very different. For a tree application, I drive a tractor with a Venturi sprayer, and it's basically it has 4 nozzles that go up to the top of the canopy and down to the soil around the drip layer and everything in between. So it's creating a mist cloud around each tree. And so that's pretty unique. Most people aren't going to get to use that kind of technology, but no, here, it's just a thorough coating. It's top of the leaves, bottom of the leaves, and entire drip line or soil area around every plant. So whether it's tomato,
equally covered from.
Yeah, but you want it kind of wet. So if you haven't coated all the surfaces and then had some drips, you probably are a little, people will like walk through and just kind of surface blast. And that's really not what we're doing. We want basically in the trees, we call it treating the whole acre. We treat the soil in the entire orchard, the trunks, the branches, and the canopy. You want to do the same thing with any crop. So with cannabis, you're treating the stalk, the laterals, the underside of the leaves, and the top side of the leaves. And then the only concern there is depending on your microbial protocols. If you're in the legal and you're going through and you're getting all your testing on all this stuff, you can you do need to, it's also cure and dry. If you're too wet and cure and dry and you have high microbials, you're gonna have problems. So some people are stopping 4 weeks or 2 weeks before harvest with any microbial foliars, just to try and mitigate that.
Nice.
So you
go
gotta
all the way to 6 weeks on that then.
So lots of people that natural farm spray the entire time of the cannabis's life cycle right up to harvest and never fail a test. But I think that they have their dry and cure down.
Yes.
That's some great information. That's an amazing point to key on.
Okay.
Because if you have things in a cure bin and you're letting it get too wet.
Oh yeah, there's an art to cure, dude. Didn't mean to call you dude.
So I think that really experienced natural farmers that have been doing this for 3 years have sprayed liquid IMO on the surface of their flowers right up to harvest and never failed to test. So it can be done. That's in Washington, by the way, that I have that real 3-year. That's my friends Michael Dressler and Tara. Their farm is Doja Rose. No. Anyways, he's on Instagram. He's Be Mellow.
Okay, get him up. Okay. Yeah, I'll find him. Shout out.
But they're great farmers. Cool. Yeah. And,
I'm so happy to hear that.
Drake missed that name, I think. What was the name again, Chris? You cut out for just a minute.
The Instagram handle for Michael and his wife Tara, they're partners. It's their farm. She is oh man, I'm bad. I think it's one of them is Do Work Be Mellow, at Do Work Be Mellow.
Okay, we'll get that one.
Continue.
Cool. Okay, because I'm drawing a blank too, and I shouldn't be. Wow, that's beautiful to know. Thank you for sharing that. There we go. That's Michael Dressler.
Yeah, so that's his.
I know him. Oh gosh, yes. Okay, cool.
So it's it's good to know because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that was his dog's birthday. He is a goofball.
So are you doing drenches and foliar at the same time, or are you just doing it?
Absolutely. Okay. It depends what you need. You can do soil drench for nutrients, and twice a week. You can do it once a week. You can do foliar once a week. If somebody's really pushing nutrients, they might do 3 applications of natural farming nutrients where they're doing, maintenance plus calcium, type 3. And they're spraying it 3 days a week during flower because they got so much nitrogen in their system. They really just need to keep that calcium balancing so those plants can use. Oh yeah, it's all about balance. Nature operates in balance. We go really light on designing soil as far as nutrients. We don't just load it with everything under the sun. Yes, because we want a living soil system down there that can cycle nutrients. We definitely want our minerals down there, but we have such control with our water soluble nutrients in natural farming that we can just really kind of hone it in on, pushing yields while not being imbalanced. Because a plant with too much nutrients, you actually inhibit growth. You can stress the plant. Them dealing with that imbalance of nutrients is actually a decrease in yield and product quality. So you want to just be aware that more is not always better.
Yeah, nature is efficient and is balanced and is balancing all kinds of systems. And so each garden is going to be a different expression of that kind of balance. And even over time, as you become a more advanced or a more established living system, it's going to shift as well. And depending on your crop. So it's kind of a discovery. So, feeling like you have to have all the answers before you begin is almost like backwards, because the sooner you can begin, the sooner you can begin the process of discovering what's going to work.
Yeah. You know, I think eventually or sometime on this, we should talk about side-by-side trials, because I just realized there's a lot of misunderstanding in regards to that. We say side-by-side trials. You see, hear some of us nerds talk about side-by-side trials. And what I've realized in dialoguing with people is when I say side-by-side trial for somebody that hasn't done it before, what they hear is like massive scientific undertaking, you know, that I have so much work to do to take all the pictures and figure out all the things. And I just want to dispel that misunderstanding, because it's not like that. So a side-by-side trial can be extremely simple. And what you would do if you were, we're talking cannabis, you are in veg and you're feeling like you see a little bit of a nutrient deficiency. And you got all these tools. You got water-soluble potassium, water-soluble calcium, water-soluble phosphorus, water-soluble calcium phosphate, fish amino acid for your nitrogen. And you have all these tools and you're like, ooh, what is it? I think it's deficient in potassium. Like, fans are getting kicked on. It'll be loud for a second. This is one of the things we encounter a little bit difficulty with here in Colorado. It's like, you know, 15 degrees outside and we need to flush air. And so they're getting this flush of really cold air. And that has caused some really minor, but noticeable, we're kind of seeing that has an effect. So we're trying to change the flow of that a little bit to warm the air slightly, or at least get it to filter.
Are you aware of the climate battery model? So the underground, so you dig below the frost line and then you run a bunch of French drain down there.
Oh yeah, I am. I love that for creating a greenhouse. This is a different kind of greenhouse.
Yeah, but that would help. That's what Colorado, like high elevation cold. It's a very amazing way to moderate those kinds of swings.
I hear you. I like that. Yeah, there's a guy that grows citrus in like Iowa or something in greenhouses throughout the winter. And he does it all with those sunken pipes, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So side-by-side trials.
Yes.
It is so, yeah, the temperature just dropped in here pretty quick, and that was only on for like 15 seconds.
I can't wait to share that tech with you.
By the way, your mic made great adjustments. The fans weren't loud, so you could continue talking. Cool. So you're good.
So side-by-side trial, real quick. It is easy. Hear me. It is easy. It just seems daunting because you haven't done it before. Easy. So all you would do to do a side-by-side trial, the most important thing, believe it or not, are your controls. And you'd want maybe 2 controls. One, you do nothing. One, you just do water. So I'm talking about a foliar application side-by-side trial. So I have, let's say I get 4 plants per application, and I want to do it all in 1 cultivar if possible. So if I got to run a cultivars, and if I don't have enough for 4 plants, then I do 1 plant. The only thing with 1 plant is you're hoping that you don't have, it's really best to duplicate your trial. So you want as many per application as possible. 10 plants is a great number, 1 cultivar. And what I do is I apply. So maintenance solution in natural farming is OHN, FPJ, and rice vinegar, plus, and that's just your base. So let's say I feel like this just happened with another client. There, I was kind of hesitant to apply a fresh round of compost this next cycle they're going into, because I felt like they were pretty hot on nutrients already. They really wanted to push that nitrogen. And I was like, okay, and now I'm looking at the plants and they're doing great, but I'm like, yeah, there's something. And I think they're over on nitrogen in flower, because it was great for veg, but they applied it to the soil. So there's no way to kind of give take. It's just there. And I said, I think you're not in nitrogen toxicity category. And so they're like, well, maybe we just need more nitrogen. It's not getting it out of the soil. I'm like, okay, here's how we do it. So 4 plants or 10 plants, whatever you have, all in the same cultivar, a line of sections. And so now for this particular trial, I'm going to ask 2 questions and I'm going to have 2 controls. So my 2 questions I'm asking is, does it want calcium or does it want nitrogen? Okay. Easy questions I'm asking. And so I brew up my maintenance solution plus calcium, WCA, it's a water soluble calcium. And I brew up my maintenance solution plus FAA, fish amino acid, our nitrogen source. Got those 2. And then I'm going to do one with just maintenance solution without those 2 additions. So just the vinegar, FPJ and OHN. So now I have 3 groups of cannabis plants getting 3 different treatments. And then I'm going to do a last control that's just water. And then I have all the rest of the cannabis plants that get nothing, right? And so now what I do is I go in and I make sure there's enough gap that I'm not overspraying on another group. So I have some cannabis plants in between and I label the side of the bed or the plants themselves, or I take a picture and after I edit in the picture which ones I did. So I can do some before and after pictures in case, you know, my boss isn't here and he didn't see it and he's like, why are we doing this? I'm like, well, it looked like this before and now it looks like this. And so pictures can be helpful for you to remember what it looked like, especially if it's your first time doing it. But I apply on one day my type 2, which is with nitrogen, my type 3, which is with calcium, my just maintenance. These other 2 have, but they don't have that addition of calcium or nitrogen, and then just water. And so now I have controls that, you know, if they just needed a little more water and they're all benefiting just because I watered them, I know because I have a water only control. I don't want to think, oh, I'm so great, I figured it out. And really they just were underwatered, you know? So those controls are really important, that you don't get anecdotal or just kind of pretend data. And so what I do with this to run a side-by-side with natural farming tech is I spray them. I wait 2 days and I spray them again. The whole trial takes a week. And then I watch them for the next 4 days after my second application. But usually in the first 24 hours, you have your answer. Clear as day. Yep, these are highly available nutrients. And so, but what you want to do is you want to run the trial out. If you think you have the answer in day 1, still finish the trial. But this is really, really simple. You don't have to submit it to a university. You don't have to call your doctor and make sure you're doing it right. Apply it in the exact same way at the exact same time to all your plants and then watch. And you know what happened in that trial where they were nitrogen toxic? The calcium took those little yellowing leaves and everything lushed up, greened up. It pushed chlorophyll back into those leaves and everything greened up and lushed up. The nitrogen application got more yellow. The maintenance solution was kind of inconsequential and the water only also inconsequential. So, or not inconclusive, sorry, inconclusive. And so, so we're in a calcium only application and we're pushing it because we want those plants to get as healthy as they can as they have another month per flower. And that's it's a wonderfully easy thing to do. You don't have to be a scientist. Just simply, that's it. It's not tricky. Main thing is if you're not good at remembering what it looked like yesterday, get some pictures and get good ones. Pick a leaf or a few leaves. And what you're especially looking at is the new growing leaves. You don't want to look at an old fan leaf that the plant's already hardening off and kind of finished with, because they won't push new life down into those old fan leaves. So they won't really green up immediately. What you want to look is that the crown where you have those new growing leaves. How many leaves were put out since you started your trial compared to the other one? If this one put, you know, one main one and 2 new ones coming out in 2 days, and this one's just barely pushing one main one of them's healthier. And so really, really taking time to get some observation points on your plants, the main thing. So Again, definition of science is what, Tina?
The what?
The definition of science. What is the definition of science?
Well, I would say practice to know, but I'm an alchemist, so you're not asking a scientist.
Yeah, so the definition of science is the study of nature through observation and experimentation.
Oh,
that's
well,
the definition of the entirety of science.
And if you're not writing it down, it doesn't count. So write it down, take pictures so that it's repeatable. And then in a year, when you've forgotten little facets of what you've done, you've got it right there, and you can show someone who's interested in taking that information what you've done, and then we can compile it together. And as individuals, go ahead, Chris.
Well, and Drake, I'll ask you this. Do you always have time to write something down as a farmer?
There you go.
Do not.
So you know what? We'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
If you do a side-by-side, get your necessary information, but didn't write anything down, it was just for you. You know, it's okay sometimes to just get yourself an answer and go on, because you got stuff to do.
Yeah. And in defense of my answer, like when you practice, I feel like practicing just that, doing that decision that you're going to actually do something rather than think about something, is that first step that you need to step into what observation even is. Because I feel like we've even lost our sort of perception of what it is to observe our world. We're so caught up in looking outside of ourselves for the answer that we can't initiate that until we make the decision to act.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, observation is lost art.
Yeah, and it's so easy, and it really, that's the first step, and that's what
I will say.
Yeah, go.
Cannabis farmers are typically above average on ability to observe their plants, though.
It does help.
They're pretty into it.
Almost obsessive compulsive, do you want to maybe say sometimes? Like they want to do something in it every day, like that becomes a problem? We hear someone said that today.
Yeah, I actually...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Let's speak to that. Speak to that. So I have so you got, they're trying to put on the calendar what they do each week. And we have a LFA application. We actually put it on the calendar, and it'll be like a week, LFA this week, and that's leave it the F alone.
Yes. Because we always want to fix it. I mean, it's so crazy to watch, like when you go to one of Chris's classes and you just see that spark, and people are sparked by it because it really works. And it has this, it's attuned to nature, and we are part of natural systems. And that's what we have to reawaken. So anyway, it's almost like you go through a little bit of an experience being at these lives. And it's funny, right as you're going into that place of seeing it for something that it really is, your mind is right at the back, just like trying to fix it.
Add more. Yeah. And so, yeah, with different stages in a plant's life, they do go through shocks or down periods or transitions or transplant, stuff. And there are times where you want to only water, and yes, it needs something, but what it needs right now is time to not have a bunch of extra nutrients to deal with and whatnot. So,
are you finding with cannabis, this has always been that it's for every stress, it's a kind of about a week recovery, that it takes them about a week to kind of demonstrate change?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do things to help in stress times, but a lot of times they just need to be left alone. And I'm finding with new growers, like I need to put it on the calendar, like LFA all week long. It's blocked out, don't.
That's an amazing tip. I'm incorporating that to myself.
Yeah, it's the LFA treatment. We can put it in the natural farming acronyms.
Yeah, I think it's going to go on the list. Sure. It's on the list.
That should be number one almost. That's so good.
And speaking of lists, we might as well mention it. So last week when we were getting ready for your visit, Chris, we were thinking, because one of the things that trips people up a lot are the acronyms, right? Because it's It's just because you don't. Anyway, we know why. But
No,
so
I saw the acronym list you've been making, Tina. They're really cool. They're on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, so that was for today. So we told everybody last week that we would have that available. So for screenshots, just because we didn't want it to stop up. But man, this has been such a beautiful conversation. I've learned so much.
Yeah, your acronym lists are wonderful. I really like it.
Was there any fun stuff on there you want to talk about? Like, poop.
I have to admit, I didn't pour over them and read every single one. I just thought the format and the stuff.
I had a question.
Good.
The FAA, that was like the first time I met you.
You can come say hi.
Come say hi.
Come say hi.
Yeah, please. I'll stop my question. Let's see. I'll continue in a minute. Come on in, guys. Let me spotlight you guys.
James Brinkerhoff.
Hi, Jay. Where'd
he disappeared. Oh no.
It's Matt. I saw Matt.
Oh no, don't flip the camera.
Matt, you made the phone crash.
So this is James Brinkerhoff Jr. His dad initiated the project, got me on, and James too, and he's been here growing, and he makes an incredible live rosin hash.
Hi, Wendy.
There's Wendy. Wendy's our cannabis expert, and here's Matt. Matt is an incredible natural farmer, and he's kind of got his finger. In the background. He's got his finger on the pulse of many things going on with the plants, and they're just so James and Matt are here all the time. Me and Wendy are visiting different times and sometimes overlap. But good team, good brains.
Good to see the whole family.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything, Mr. JJ?
We heard about you. We saw your machine earlier.
Just hope you all are getting massive value from the soil steward, who is really he's kind of the Lorax of the soil world. He speaks for the microbes. So anything around that realm, when he comes over, I tell him, hey, get down to the microbes and start talking to them, make sure things are going good. I'm worrying about everything above the soil and the flower and everything. So it's awesome that you guys have this guy on. He's awesome for any type of product.
Hey, Chris, you got your hand. You got your hand on the mic.
Every day.
Oh no,
We're gonna have you on, James, if you're down, and just have a conversation.
Is this thing on? Hello, is this thing on? Am I on TV? Can you see me?
Yep, we see you.
Hello?
Yep, we see you.
Sorry, guys. That's here. It probably works now. You can just talk. Wait, can you hear us?
Okay.
Can we hear you?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Speaker. There we go. I'm sorry, guys. Technological difficulty.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, they can.
No, we hear you. Okay. You're good. We're muted.
All right, you guys are zooming. That's
enough of your spotlight. You can only see yourself.
Oh, I thought I could see the whole team. Why can't I see the whole team? There she is.
Yeah, there's Tina. You're talking to.
Oh, hey, Tina. Awesome.
Wendy, what are you doing? You scoping?
Hi, Tina. We're scoping, checking trichomes. How's it going?
We're here together. Are you kidding? I'm ecstatic.
Yay!
I get to meet you guys. I've been wanting to. It's so exciting to be here with everybody.
What are you playing with, Wendy?
We're playing with a little hand loop, which is very handy for checking trichome ripeness and just kind of planning out the harvest schedule. So it's going well. I think we're close to everything.
We're ready.
Yeah,
Matt, what do you think?
Hi, Tina.
Hi, Matt. Nice to see you.
There's Drake on there, and there's
Tara. Hi, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying the garden.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's one of the most stunning.
Thank you. A lot of work.
There's no chairs in here.
Play. More like
it's awesome.
They're making fun of me sitting in the cover crop.
Oh no, it's awesome. I think it's awesome. I think I want to have a cover crop to sit in sometime.
I got my sweater out here and my lunch and everything, and they're just teasing me.
What are you guys talking about today?
Natural farming in general. Oh. A bunch of they got questions queued up, and LaLa is one of my students.
Cannabis people or just
they're cannabis people. LaLa is one of my students, long time. and she does a lot in the natural farming online community, and so does Tara. And they're smoking. Oh, they probably want to taste your live rosin hash, right, Tara?
We do. We would love to.
I do.
Yep.
So that they can talk about it online. I'll make that connection
Smoke
afterwards.
test.
I'll make sure you guys have his contact so you can
Oh my goodness.
keep hounding them until you get a sample so you can talk
no,
about
I
it.
need it.
I try to stay away from civilization as much as possible, so I'm not over there very often. You can find me up here in the mountains anytime, but I'm very rarely spotted in the urban setting.
Tina, if you want to come down for a visit, you're not too far away.
I would love to. Can I? Okay.
Yeah, you can come down.
Like tomorrow.
All right.
Tomorrow. Okay.
All right.
No, that'll be a Wednesday episode, Tina. That'll be a live on the spot episode.
Let's do it.
I keep kicking the water manifold and knocking over my phone.
That's okay. Hey, Chris, I want to put a little seed in your ear so you know, like, all right, so while you're in Colorado at some time, you have to go visit Northern Colorado, the Permaculture Institute, Crimpy, and you have to meet Jerome because he built a tree house in his banana field. So that's where he goes and hangs out in his greenhouse. There's a tree house in his greenhouse, like built behind the bananas. And it's like his little man cave. And I thought, awesome. He's a little man cave.
That's awesome. Where is he? What city?
I should know this, and I will make sure that we get that information.
Yeah, let me know. I'm gonna go. I have to go through Denver. I probably will talk with some people about this garden briefly in Denver, but I could say hi or get a coffee on my way through.
Yep. It's educational because he's the one that kind of put into practice the climate battery greenhouses up at a higher elevation. So he's proved that you can grow bananas at 7,000 feet.
Wonderful. Good for him.
Wow,
that's pretty
really cool. Yeah. Well, hey, I want to say thank you for all 62 people I see in chat turning in today. That's an amazing figure out there. Thanks each and every one of you for being here. I super, super appreciate it. And if you think anybody would like to hear this conversation, I'd really appreciate it if you'd share that out for us and get this knowledge out to everybody. And if you hit that thumbs up, it helps promote channels you like. So please help do that around this cannabis community, if you will.
And get on live chat.
And get it on live chat. LaLa and Trump, Chris, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate all the knowledge you guys share freely and the amount of time you dedicate to the planet, to the plants, and to our community. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mother Earth, for being so generous. And I know that sounds real crazy hippie, but oh man,
there's the soil.
Right there she is.
Yeah, it's all nice and getting mature. Tons of microbes. Tomorrow we have a scope the soil all over the garden all day.
Okay.
thing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tara, or
no, let's talk about scoping then, because I have a question about that. Like, is it how so do you think it's possible to navigate through your sort of sharpening your senses of observation without the use of a scope?
Oh yeah, it is. I think scope makes sense in extreme, like a very commercial application. I think there's a lot of room for scoping because you're dealing with a lot more cost per per thing you're doing, and so it's really good to got my worm friends over here saying hello. It's really good to have that tool if you're, because I'll make I'm getting ready to make 90,000 pounds of IMO 4 in Hawaii, and I want to check my liquid inoculum to make sure I'm getting those microbes in there effectively, that I didn't mess something up. And because there's money represented in that raw material that I'm about to inoculate. And so that's where it becomes a pretty important tool. But no, I think generally as you get accustomed, I don't really scope things. I rarely scope IMO, because I can smell how it's doing, you know, and so
exactly. And every microbe has its own scent.
Yeah, your nose is an amazing tool.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and we will talk about that like nowish, but I just wanted to ask this quick question. So in the question of scalability, then that sort of observation through a different lens or a microscope, it sounds like it's pretty essential.
It can be, but again, you know, really getting good or really capable, even base capable with a microscope is a 1 to 2 year regular journey. You know, you have to use it regularly for a couple of years before it's really an effective tool for you. It is an effective tool, but you have to be able to say, what am I seeing, without the help of a doctor? And that's something a layman can do. And it's a 2-year journey. So just start using it, start asking those questions, start taking those pictures. What am I seeing? What am I doing? And spend the 2 years to become a proficient user of a microscope. And then, yeah, then it's a great tool. But yeah, just picking it up and throwing a bunch of stuff on there, you'll have more questions than answers.
So I would say though, if you're going to be a small gardener, even like very small, that one of the most essential things might be to keep a notebook so that you're able to sort of like write down your observations, but also maybe even to write down the smells, because, you know, as I'm going down and working with specific microorganisms, I'm understanding that they smell different, they have different colors, they have different properties, they show up differently at different times. And so to understand our world, it's really helpful to have those pictures. And if you can't have the pictures, to actually write down even poetically what you're feeling and seeing and smelling, because those things are going to inform you in your journey so beautifully.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right with the notebook, and also writing down how much you put in when you're weighing things, and you know, measuring out water, because how much you put in, if you remember that and it went really well, you're going to be able to easily duplicate that. So a little detail of something we do here is we don't pull out any stumps. We just cut them off and leave them in, and then plant next to them. So this year, we just harvested this. I mean, this cycle, this just came out in the last few days, and this is last cycle. And I just want to pull it up and show you that thing in a living soil system has completely decomposed, where I can just break it apart with one hand. And all those roots became organic matter and food for microorganisms, and it doesn't get in the way of anything. Now all that's left is the tiny bit above ground.
Oh, thank you for sharing. There's so much in a picture. I just learned so much from you, Chris. That's so beautiful.
And it's chock full of all the goodies that that it requires for growing cannabis, because that's the breakdown, the leftovers of your cannabis root. So then all those, instead of removing it and taking out all that stuff you worked so hard to cultivate, now you let it break down and do its thing, right? Like it's beautiful. You never want to get rid of those.
Yeah, free compost.
Wow.
So you guys want a short tour and before I gotta go?
Yes, please.
All right. So
we'll need you to go in slow motion, but we'd love it.
Oh yeah. Am I kind of okay? I'm gonna start on one side.
Just go
I'm gonna
start at my really slow.
Banana plant. All right, we're gonna go find the banana plant. Can you see it?
Wow.
I can. Cool. Oh, that looks cool. Nugs and a banana plant. How cool is that, y'all? Didn't think you'd see that this morning.
So what you don't want to do is you don't want to plant anything like this where it's going to take up shade, sunlight energy from your plants, because it doesn't have enough value. It's novel, but this is where, you know, this is your business. So you just got to be careful.
Is it novel though, Chris? How about the differences in when you're using the blossoms from a banana that you've grown for yourself? Is it like next level?
Yeah, I mean, that's great, but really, I mean, if it competes with even 1 foot of your canopy in what you're growing, you basically need to call it a loss.
Okay.
But yeah, planting them off to the side. Our sun comes, you know, from this direction, so planting them over here where they're the last thing to get sun, it's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Probably does a cooling thing. I wonder if it works with the moisture. I wonder if you grow those and you could do the upper atmosphere. So you could have microbes in your upper atmosphere. Oh my goodness. You got me thinking.
That's looking awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful. Congrats to
Yeah,
everyone
really,
over there.
really wonderful smell. So these are 2 cultivars from clones. You can kind of see or maybe more than 2. You can see the green and then the purple, but it's all one. 2 phenos, but 1 cultivar.
So how wide are those beds, Chris, and long? What's the dimensions? Could you tell us?
I think they're 5 feet wide and 30. Man, I don't have it off the top of my head. I forgot. I have something else to show you. Yeah, they're 30.
I didn't even realize they were 5 feet. That's okay. That gives us a better dimension. Thank you.
5 feet wide, 4 feet deep, and probably 30 something feet long.
Those are gorgeous.
So this is a winter collection of IMO 1, where there's a little mushroom hanging out.
Wow.
So this is mycelium from the local forest. And so we've unburied 2 feet of snow and maybe a couple inches of solid ice. And underneath, we're thriving mycelial webs. Can you see this one? A little
Beautiful.
bit? Probably.
Yep, I can see
it's
it.
coming in great.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Okay. And so that's all what's all over it and in it and in underneath it. And so that's going to have 5 days. And then this one's not in a paper bag. So that one you could do in the garage in like a cardboard box or a paper bag.
Nice.
And then this one is just all the winter soil and microbes are here. And then on top, but this is right on the living soil, just as basically the same way you'd put it if you were doing it outside.
This is an example of a side-by-side as well. This is how playful it can get.
Well, this isn't really a side-by-side. This is an established practice for doing a winter collection.
Oh my gosh.
I've done this many times. And I learned this in Korea if you do want a winter collection, you can do it by taking that frigid microbes and bringing them into like a garage or a warmer environment to grow them out on rice.
Beautiful, thank you.
So with these collections, I've seen something coming up in a lot of chats recently, and then recently on another show that I was on, talking about doing these IMO collections. And there's a lot of people that have been throwing shade and talking about all the negative things that are going to happen. But with a lot of it, it's all just kind of, Facebook wars and very primitive. There's not much explanation. So have you found anything negative?
Yeah.
Throw shade at this.
Yeah. Exactly. Seeing to believe.
This is just IMO 4 and natural farming nutrients. There's nothing else going on here.
Can I ask you?
There was some preloaded nutrients. They did a little. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Soil.
And I gotta go in about 5 minutes.
All right. This is quick. So last summer I was playing around with a ratio of about 30% biochar that's my own, that I grew out. It's my own. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. 30% worm castings that I had grown on the property, and then 30% biochar, worm castings, and
wood chips?
No,
not wood chips. You already got your biochar. Manure?
No. IMO 4. Okay. So, and I use that not only for seedlings, but also for pots, and it has some amazing qualities. So I was wondering about, I want to talk to you. I would love to have more conversation sometime about biochar and soil, if you would be down for such a conversation.
Yeah. My really brief kind of overly simple answer is if you have sufficient organic matter in your soil, meaning your organic matter numbers are up, biochar is a waste of time.
Oh,
absolutely. It's
even
that's
if
not
it's
just
made
my
out
information.
Even if it's made out of
doesn't matter. Biochar isn't a nutrient. Biochar is not a nutrient.
But it charges soil now.
We're going to have to touch on this so much more. I know LaLa's going to have so many questions. I do too. Okay. I've got one more quick one that can just be a yes or no because it's just related to the IMOs. So I'd love to be able to just mention that confidently myself. So in your experience, have you found any negatives from bringing in IMOs? Like is there any sort of bad things you can bring in your experience so far with everything you've done?
No.
I can say no.
So let me caveat that though. When it's done well, if you learned how to do it right, if you are making straight actinobacteria because you made a really hot pile and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to mess up the balance of a decent soil. So the only time I've seen a negative is when it wasn't a fungal balanced pile or fungally dominant pile. Oops.
No, you're good. Your audio is just coming in clear now.
Okay. When it wasn't is my audio not clear?
You're good either way.
Better now.
Okay. When it wasn't balanced or it was only bacteria, kind of like a bokashi or an EM, that imbalance causes serious problems on things that love fungal dominance. So cannabis, my trees. The only time I've seen issue is when they failed to achieve a balanced IMO or a fungal IMO. You can cause imbalance, which will immediately cause issues with plant, especially plants that love fungal dominance.
Well, thank you so much. That's another one that's just going to open up such a big can of worms.
Yeah, that's
I'll let LaLa finish up.
Not a can of worms. It's going to be a path of discovery. Come on.
It's in a good way. I just mean he's got to go though. So.
She means that we can't go into that right now is what he means. We got to let Chris go. Chris, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And obviously LaLa's going to get to go visit you, so she's going to be able to ask you.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So good to talk to you guys and everybody that tuned in. Yeah, appreciate it.
Oh my God.
We'll chat again and we'll show up all your information. Go find him on Instagram, YouTube. He's also got a new whole release of a website. You've redone your website. So we're going to share that, have that at the video so everybody can go link to that. Chris is doing awesome stuff. Thanks, Chris. Have an awesome day.
Well, thanks for sharing all that too, Tara. I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys too. And and a little side note, Tara's husband makes really cool farming carts with that we use here on the farm. So if you want a spray rig, he's got the one. All right, see you guys.
Oh my God. All right.
See you, Chris. Not only that, but we're also going to start carrying the Harvest Right freeze dryers. I'm getting a freeze dryer as well. So. Yeah, so we're dipping our toes in the homesteaders business and survival stuff. So yeah.
Oh, dude.
I'm getting a Harvest Right. I'm super excited.
I'm overwhelmed and excited right now.
So that was what an awesome day. LaLa, thank you for bringing Chris on today. What an amazing time. We got to close this down and wind it up and kind of let's kind of wind it in and let's talk about what we have going on. We're going to have like these deep dive conversations. And we don't want to please smoke for just a minute, LaLa. Take a break. I'm going to talk for a minute.
Okay.
So please just we're going to have these conversations and we're not going to leave people that are beginners behind. We want you to know we're going to have these conversations and go deep dive. And then we're going to follow them up with a Q&A with LaLa. Come on Saturday morning or Wednesday, vice versa. We're going to work on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So there are 2 days we're going to work on right now. And we're going to have Q&A to help people that didn't quite understand or need some direction or a video. And then in the future, we're also planning on having some Zoom grow meetings with anybody that would like to join and ask specific questions. If you're too afraid to come on, there's just something you're not understanding, or if you want to come on and make labs with us, or if you want to come on and make something with us, because we're going to be making stuff together. We made ginger bugs together, so if you want to make ginger bugs, that's something I'd love to show everybody how to make, because Ginger in our chat has showed us how to do that. And in fact, it'd be fun to have her come on and show y'all how to do that if we could get Daddy to babysit someday. So yeah, that would be awesome. So thanks everybody again for being here and supporting us. We really appreciate you. This is how we're going to grow the community by having an amazing chat like you all, and keep sharing us out, because that's how we're going to get the word out. I'm a very small channel and it's going to take a lot to grow this. So I really appreciate you all for being here. LaLa, did you have any final thoughts today? And Drake,
on that note, I'm going to jump in really quick. Well, it was just perfect timing. It's 11:20 PST for us, which means it's 4:20 somewhere, so everyone can hit a dab. Beautiful time for the show. It was just meant to be. So I'm jumping in on some Thin Mint cookies. LaLa, what are you up to?
Really, I can't wait to go get some amazing smoke that I get to share the details on when I visit a beautiful greenhouse tomorrow. So meanwhile, I'm smoking what I'm grateful to have from my K&F garden. And the only reason it's not any better than it is because I had clones that were kind of chemically dependent, and I didn't understand my system enough to mitigate for some of the things I was seeing present. Because what does happen when you switch to a natural farming system, even in your property, is that that those plants will start exhibit the things that they need to be healed from. And so it is a process of coming into understanding of your system. But I am so blessed with the things that I learned today, that I can really work with some of the things that I see in my own garden. And yet I have the most amazing flower, even though I'm like, and now I'm on, yeah, should be fun, guys.
Cheers, everybody. Awesome, LaLa. I'm glad you joined our team.
I love
that. So that was some Gorilla Glue that I'm going in on, Gorilla Glue number 4. So cheers, everybody. I hope you're able to have a little celebration with us out there. And yeah, so how does everybody find you, LaLa? Let's get ready for the next live and see y'all on Saturday.
Yep.
How does everybody find you,
LaLa? That would be LaLa Gardens at IG. Tina Trout on Facebook.
The microdose is not kicking in.
Don't worry. I got you.
I'm not.
Thanks, Drake.
I love you.
All right, y'all. We love y'all. And as again, we'll see you next Saturday. Peace, love.
Mwah.